Welcome back. You are live with Expresso on a beautiful Tuesday morning with a bit of a sporty flair this morning. So let's continue on that tip. So if you watch anything from rugby to even gymnastics, you'll have noticed athletes' bodies sporting an amazing variety of multicolored lines of tape.
I've always been so fascinated with this. They may look like go faster stripes or some new fashion, but there is serious medical science behind them, and here is how it works.
Let's be honest, in this country, rugby is a part of our DNA. It's one of the most popular sports in the country, and with good reason. It also comes with a lot of injuries, some little niggles, some quite traumatic. Well, today, I am so proud to be back at Newlands Rugby Stadium. It's being manicured ahead of the next Currie Cup season. But I'm here to meet with Wayne Hector, who is the Western Province physiotherapist, who knows firsthand how to deal with injuries across the entire scale, especially using taping. Now, with so many legends having graced these hallowed halls, I'm just going to take a moment to soak it all up. Wayne, good to see you in this unbelievably awesome environment. It gives me a buzz whenever I'm here. Wayne, I know you have treated many men and women in your career, but what are some of the more common injuries that you come across in your code?
Look, I'm primarily involved in rugby, so it's a full body sport, you know. The most common injuries are probably lower limb injuries, ankles being the biggest one. But knees take a pounding, shoulders take a pounding, necks, lower backs, so it's across the board.
So what then is your first response? What are the best ways to treat these injuries?
Well, I mean, obviously in the acute phase, you follow the RICE principles, so rest, ice, compression, elevation. Make sure that you diagnose accurately, because the biggest mistake some people make is, you know, they try and treat something and they don't know what it is that they're treating.
So as I understand it, taping can be used to gently correct posture. It also comes in really handy with helping with issues of fatigue and preventing overextension or contraction, and is obviously great in preventing injuries. But how specifically can it be used in addressing sports injuries?
The biggest thing with taping is that the effect is immediate. The other big advantage of taping as compared to bracing, for example, is taping is very adjustable, so you can adapt to that specific person's body part or their anatomy or their injured structure.
Now, I know there is some commonality in terms of how you treat injuries across all sporting codes. What are some of the other sports that result in these kinds of injuries?
Look, I think in professional sport, I can't think of a sport that doesn't use taping, simply because everyone's looking for that little 1% that's going to give them the advantage of their opposition. I'm not saying that taping is the be-all and end-all, but every little 1% certainly helps on the field.
Would taping work and help? In my case, the weekend warrior at my age, you can get injured quite easily. Where else is taping applicable?
Yeah, look, I mean, from your weekend warrior, the guy that goes mountain biking every Sunday morning with some mates, to the person that's doing these body fit classes 2 evenings a week, everyone can benefit from taping if there's a structure that needs to be unloaded or muscle that needs to be facilitated.
It's quite bizarre to me. The penny really dropped today. I've obviously noticed rugby players adorning themselves with tape everywhere, but I haven't really thought about how it protects joints and muscles and tendons to prevent injury happening. So I didn't realize to what extent taping has played a role in rugby, to be honest. Wayne, I've noticed there is quite an extensive range of varying tapes. Which are you using specifically for this exercise and why?
So this is called LEUKO, and it's used to unload the fascial space. So that layer or that space between your muscle and the skin. By unloading that fascial space, you improve muscle function. It helps with drainage. So what we're wanting to do is apply the longer strips of the LEUKO around the gastrocnemius muscle. We don't apply it under too much tension, because I'm keeping his foot in dorsiflexion, in other words, toes pointed up, and then just laying it down on the skin, kind of surrounding that gastrocnemius muscle. And then the second strip that we're going to apply more across the Achilles tendon and that we're going to apply under tension. So the first third of it, I pull full tension out of the tape. So in other words, until there's no stretch left. And then rub that down. Second third is 50% tension. Again, rubbing that down. And then the last little bit, we're just laying on the skin.
Okay.
And then give it a good rub down just to activate the glue properly. And he's good to go.
I know you make it look incredibly easy, a very practiced hand. Is this something that I can learn to do myself, or would you recommend that you have to have a pro physio do it for you?
So I would recommend that it's applied by someone that's been trained in application of K-tape. Having said that, if you have a good relationship with your physio and you're going to need to repeatedly strap that knee or that calf or whatever the area is, the physio can certainly teach you how to do it yourself. Okay. But I wouldn't try and do it myself off the bat, because there is very specific techniques that need to be used.
If you're not asleep yet, I suppose I've got to ask first up, how does it feel?
It hasn't even been on for that long. I can already feel the tension in my calf. It's like slowly going away.
I know you guys are unrelenting in your training, and obviously you play a lot of rugby. How scary is an injury, and how often do you get injured?
So I'm lucky enough to not have been injured that many times. But when I do, what you want to do is you want to immediately take care of that. You want to do your rehab. You want to do your pre-ab, your stretches in the morning, and then you also want to get a strap before training just to prevent anything worse happening to that injury.
Being able to plug into Wayne's expertise and his incredible knowledge and experience, obviously working in this space, has been wonderful. And I picked up a few gems. First of all, it's worth building a relationship with your physio and learning how to do this yourself. Learn how to apply the tape properly so that you're getting the most out of a product that really does work. What I didn't realize is how the tape is so effective in preemptive, and the fact that you can use the taping to take the strain off an injury to the degree that you can actually get players out there trained. It's the glue, excuse the pun, that binds sports recovery or injury recovery. It really is a vital, vital tool. Beautiful, safe as houses. Maybe not in my day, but I absolutely loved being back in Newlands, and I've loved getting the education I have today. I think there is sports management and injury management for every sportsman or woman out there. It's about finding the right technique and the right tape for you, and LEUKO Sport has it all. I missed the kick horribly. I was miles off, man. But what a pleasure being back in Newlands Stadium. I've had so many magical moments there throughout my career as a broadcaster. Just so cool to be back in there.
Oh, well, that is amazing. Well, after watching that, we have 2 lucky winners that stand a chance to win a hamper to the value of 600 Rand each.
Nice.
Simply head on over to their Facebook or Instagram page, like, follow, and comment on the competition post by sharing your favorite LEUKO Tape K color.
And there are some pretty spanky colors there. We love it. LEUKO Tape K color. And remember to include that hashtag Strapping for Champions. And this week's competition closes at 9 a.m. on Friday. But you can, as always, get all the terms and conditions on the linked to the competition post. So go and check them out. But just get on it, especially if you're a weekend warrior like me. This stuff is so useful.